for the last 5 or 6 years, we've seen 5 or 6 different NBA champions, starting with the Toronto Raptors in 2019, then the Lakers in 2020, then the Bucks in 2021, the Warriors in 2022, now the Boston Celtics here in 2024. So we haven't had any back-to-back champions within the last 5 or 6 years, and we don't have that team of the decade like we had in the 80s with the Showtime Lakers, or the Bird Parrish and McHale Celtics of the 80s, the Bad Boy Pistons, the Bulls of the 90s, the Lakers of the 2000s, the Warriors, the Miami Heat Big Three, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, the Spurs. We don't have any dominant team like that has really put their stamp on this decade. So now I ask the question, there we go. My apologies for that. Can the Boston Celtics be the team of the 2020s? Can they be that team that puts their stamp on this decade, winning multiple championships and going back to back? Because now with so much parity in the NBA, you don't see back-to-back NBA champions. You haven't seen a team really put their stamp on running this decade like the Bulls did in the 90s or the Lakers did in the 2000s and the 2010s, the Showtime Lakers, the Warriors of this era. And I think they got a chance to be the team of the 2020s. They got they got 2 great young players in their prime in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They definitely got the veterans still that can do it and still play at a high level, like an Al Horford, a Drew Holiday, as well as a Kristaps Porzingis. And also, Brad Stevens has definitely done a great job since he's been promoted into the GM role. They got a great coach in Joe Mazzulla. But the question is, can they keep this team together to do all that? Because it's going to come down to contracts eventually. And also, as well as age with veterans like Horford, as well as Holiday. But if they can replace those players with complementary pieces, for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, then yeah, they could definitely go on a run and definitely put their stamp on this decade. They still also have Derek White as well. Can't forget about him. He's a great role player. So, yeah, the Celtics definitely have a chance to be the team of the decade that can definitely run the 2020s if everything goes right. But it's also harder now with all the parity going on. Just like I mentioned, that the last 5 or 6 years, we've had 5 or 6 different NBA champions. So it's going to be a lot tougher now because every team in the East is going to get better because now their main mission is to beat them, especially the teams that are ready to break into elite status are already there, like the Knicks, the Heat, the 76ers. Also, there's teams in the West that's aimed to beat them as well, like the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Thunder, of course, definitely the Mavs after they just played them in the finals. So it's going to be also tough. So I'm saying I say their chances of them being the team of the 2020s is about I would put anywhere between 60-40 to 80-20. In order for them to do that, everything's going to have to break right. Also, Brad Stevens is going to have to do a great job with free agency as well as drafting because you're not going to be able to just get every player through a trade. Now he did a great job of, acquiring Drew Holiday from the Bucks, but that's more of an exception and not the rule. So they can definitely do it, but it's going to be a lot tougher now with parity because there's no more super teams. Everyone wanted to get rid of super teams. Hey, this is the result. You have a bunch of different teams, winning the title every year. And now you don't really have that dominant team, like you have had in previous decades. But maybe the Celtics can be that team. But it's all going to depend on how Brad Stevens surrounds Brown and Tatum. Also, it's going to come down to what they do in free agency and also what they do in the draft, because they also got to develop, players to be on that bench as well. And they got to come in ready to step up right away because, this championship window for the Celtics is only open for a limited time. So if they really want to be a team that runs the 2020s, it's all going to come down to management and also how they surround their star players.